EFT is a powerful and a complete tool that can help us release emotional distress, achieve goals, and enhance overall well-being. And EFT can be even more effective when we combine it with other methods. In this episode, you're going to discover how to combine EFT with the Sedona Method for fast, deep results. Hello, I am your host, Stephen Carter. I thank you for joining me. As a brief word about my background, for more than 4 decades, I have helped thousands of people move from stress to success using an array of methods to include EFT, thought field therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and many other methods. My focus now is to share these techniques with as many people as I can so we can together make this world a happier, healthier place. You'll find more information about my background and work by visiting our website at stressreliefradio.com. In this episode, you're going to learn how to combine EFT with the Sedona Method, and let's begin with exactly what the Sedona Method is. Going all the way back to 1952, there was a gentleman who, at that time, lived in New York City by the name of Lester Levinson. Lester just had his second massive heart attack. In those days, there were no stents, there was no bypass surgery. There really wasn't much in the way of cardiac care. As Lester was being released from the hospital, doctors told him to get his affairs in order, and he would need to change his lifestyle because the next heart attack would likely be fatal. As a result of that experience, Lester went on to develop what we now know as the Sedona Method, and by applying the method, he completely healed his heart condition and recovered from an array of other medical challenges. His story is amazing, and you can find out more about Lester's life and the Sedona Method by visiting their website, sedona.com. That's sedona.com. For our purposes here, I want us to focus on the method rather than the history and the process of how it was developed. The foundation technique for the Sedona Method uses 3 questions to help you let go of unwanted emotions. The process begins with bringing into your conscious awareness the problem issue. It could be a relationship issue. It could be anything like a fear of public speaking. It could be self-sabotage. Any issue. Like EFT, the Sedona Method can be applied to virtually any issue that is creating instability or blockage in your energy system. We begin the process by identifying whatever the presenting issue is. You connect to that issue. Be aware of any images, any sounds, sensations, the feeling or feelings associated with that issue. Ask yourself, where do I feel this in my body? Where do I feel this in my body? And how strong is it? How strong is it? Allow your mind to go quiet. Assess how strong that is in your physicality and assign it a SUDS level. SUDS, of course, is short for Subjective Units of Distress. I suggest using the 0 to 10 scale, with 0 meaning no sensations, no negative feelings at all, and 10 being the maximum level of stress you can imagine. You give that a SUDS rating, take a breath or allow an in-breath and an out-breath, and then you ask 3 questions. Your first question, could I let go of the images, sounds, feelings, and sensations associated with the issue? Could I? And that means, am I capable of doing that? Not do I choose to do it or would I want to do it? This question is focusing on your capability. Am I capable of letting go of the images, sounds, feelings, sensations associated with this issue? Allow the mind to go quiet. And what you'll find is invariably yes. You're capable of doing that. We're only dealing here in this question with your capability. And if an internal voice says no, not to worry, the very question begins the releasing process. Question 2. Would I, meaning am I willing to let this go? Would I be willing to let this go? Again, go silent. You may feel some internal resistance. Just be with that resistance. But ultimately, you know that you are emotionally well served to let it go. Would I be willing to let this go? The answer invariably will be yes, I'm willing to be free of this emotional charge. But even if there's a voice that says no, do know that this is already in process. And your third question is when? When? And that is the invitation to let it go now. The purpose of these 3 questions is to help you arrive at a feeling of neutrality about the issue. A feeling of neutrality about the issue. When you operate from a place of neutrality, you have far more options to deal with whatever that issue is and to resolve it in a way that is most beneficial for you. Those 3 questions: could I let this go? Would I? And when? Let's now move to how we combine Sedona with EFT. As with any EFT session, you're going to begin with identifying the issue. Where do you feel it in your body? What are the associated images, sounds, sensations, and feelings? And what is the SUDS level? Once you have that SUDS level, you go to the first Sedona release question. Could I let this go? Could I? After asking that question, preferably out loud, you tap 1 round of EFT with the tapping setup statement, I choose to know I can let this go. I choose to know I can let this go. You'll tap a complete round using the full setup statement, I choose to know I can let this go. Tap through that, and you're then ready to move to question 2. Would I let this go? Would I? Meaning, am I choosing now to let this go? You then tap the EFT round with the setup statement, I choose to let this go. I choose to let this go. After you complete that round, you move to the third question, when do I choose to let this go? And you tap another round with the setup statement, I choose to let this go now. I choose to let this go now. You tap through a complete round, and at the completion of that third round, bring hands to heart, allow a loving in and out breath, and say, peace, peace. After you've completed the process, check your SUDS level. In all likelihood, you are going to be at a 0 or 1. If there is still a residual sense of the issue that remains, or a second issue has arisen, you repeat that same process step by step until you are at 0 or If you've been through the process 3 or 4 times and you're still not at a 0 or a 1, take a break, give it an hour, perhaps even a day, and then come back, revisit the issue. And if you still have a charge on that issue, then go ahead and repeat the process again. If you would like to experience this for yourself, I'm going to lead you through the process. Please be aware, however, if you choose to participate in the process, you are agreeing to take full, complete, and sole responsibility for your own emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. If you agree to that and would like to have a go with this, let's begin. Bring to mind an issue that you would like to resolve. It could be a relationship issue. Perhaps it's a fear of public speaking or some other fear. Perhaps you said something or did something that you are ashamed of or that you regret. Perhaps you simply would like more energy. Whatever that is, bring that issue to mind. I suggest choosing an issue that has a noticeable charge that could be 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, somewhere around a 4 or 5. Bring the issue to mind. If you can do so safely, close your eyes. Be aware of any images, sounds, sensations, feelings. Where do you feel that in your body? And how strong? What is the SUDS level? Allow a loving in and out breath. And I will ask the question, and you would ask this of yourself if you were doing this alone, or if you're leading a client. You would, of course, ask, could you let this go? And by the way, you can use either you or I, even when speaking to yourself. But here I will use you simply because, well, I am speaking with you. Bring the issue to mind. Notice where you're feeling that in your body. Notice how strong. And answer this question. Could you let this go? Just could you? Allow a moment. And we will tap, beginning with the karate chop point. Say, I choose to know I can let this go. I choose to know I can let this go. Eyebrow, I choose to know I can let this go. Side of the eye, I choose to know I can let this go. Under the eye, I choose to know I can let this go. Under the nose, I choose to know I can let this go. Under the lip, I choose to know I can let this go. Collarbone and then shoulder to shoulder, up and down the sternum, I choose to know I can let this go. I choose to know I can let this go. Skip the underarm point, go to the crown. I choose to know I can let this go. Allow a loving in and out breath. And now we move to question 2. Would you let this go? Would you let this go? Just would you? Would you let this go? Tap the karate chop point. I choose to let this go. Eyebrow, I choose to let this go. Side of the eye, I choose to let this go. Under the eye, I choose to let this go. Under the nose, I choose to let this go. Under the lip, I choose to let this go. Collarbone, side to side, shoulder to shoulder, up and down the sternum. I choose to let this go. Allow a loving in and slow out breath. And question 3, when? When? Tap the karate chop point. I choose to let this go now. Eyebrow, I choose to let this go now. Side of the eye, I choose to let it all go. I choose to let this go now. Under the eye, I choose to let this go. I choose to let this go now. Under the nose, I choose to let this go. I choose to let this go now. Under the lip, I choose to let this go. I choose to let this go now. Collarbone, I choose to let this go now. And we'll go to the crown. I choose to let this go. I choose to let this go now. Hands to heart. Right hand over left, left over right, either is fine. Allow a loving in and out breath. And on the out breath, say peace. Peace. And let's give it a yawn, sigh, stretch, stretch, stretch. Good, 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 good. All right. Now, look around the room or look around the area where you are and bring the issue again to mind. Check the suds level. In all likelihood, you are at or near zero. If there is still some charge on that issue, then go ahead and repeat the process. I've been combining the Sedona Method with EFT for many, many years, and I've taught this to hundreds of clients. This is a powerful combination that is available to you. If you have an issue that doesn't seem to be resolving with EFT alone, do have a go with bringing the Sedona Method in and combining these two powerful methods together. If you would like a copy of the mind map that has all of these steps listed, it is yours for the asking. Simply create a blank email with the subject line reading EFT and Sedona Method. EFT and Sedona Method, that's all you need to put in the subject line. You can leave the body of the email blank and send that email to me at cartermethod@gmail.com. cartermethod@gmail.com. I will share that with you by return email. If you're not already following the EFT Tapping Junction podcast, there is no better time than right now to do that. You can follow or subscribe where you get your podcasts. When you follow, you will never miss an episode. To listen to previous episodes of this and listen to other podcasts focused on stress relief, visit us at stressreliefradio.com, stressreliefradio.com. I would love to hear from you about how this process has worked for you, or if you would like to be in touch for any reason, email me at cartermethod@gmail.com. Until our next visit together, your host here, Steve Carter, wishing for you and yours blessings in abundance.